Hello and welcome. We are live for another wonderful conversation with a beautiful, beautiful woman who's tuning in all the way from Portugal. For me, I'm Sophia from Everyone Knows from Sacred You here in Australia. But today I have the beautiful Patricia with me to talk about your unique readings. Astrology readings, Patricia, you're very, very unique. So first of all, thank you for joining us today. I'm really honored and excited to be able to talk to you. And I'd love to know, first of all, tell us a little bit about you and how your life journey took you into astrology reading. And then you've got a very specific and unique type of astrology.
Yeah. I used to be a rocket scientist. I have a degree in aerospace engineering, and I used to work for a subcontractor at NASA. And I never loved it. I always felt, there was this other piece of me. I got into it mostly because I was good at math and science. And so that's what, your parents and your teachers push you to. If that's the case. And I knew on the first day of my first job that was not my life path. And thus began the journey of finding out what it was. And so alongside of that, I had always had an interest in spirituality, in astrology, because of, if anyone remembers Linda Goodman's sun signs from back, I don't know when, long time ago, but my mom had that on her bookshelf. I still to this day do not know why, because that was not of an interest to her. But I practically had that book memorized. I thought it was the coolest thing. And whenever I found out whatever somebody's sun sign was, I would go look them up in that book. And so that was my introduction to astrology. And then as an adult, I had a few readings, and I just found it amazing that the astrologer could look at something or tell me something. And I would think, how on earth do you know that, unless you've been following me around or you've talked to my friends or something. But she could point to something in the charts. It was very tangible, which my engineer brain liked, right? It was like, look, I can show my work, and so that really appealed to me. And so I was like, well, I have to learn this thing. And so I took classes from her teacher for a few years. And then I was introduced to traditional astrology, which has been making a comeback because they're translating a lot of these old documents they've been finding from the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s into languages that we all can understand. And I heard a talk once by one of the traditional astrologers who has been translating a lot of the Arabic works. And I just thought, where has this been all my life? Because it's even more tangible and practical. There are clear rules for things. There's clear formulas. And again, my engineer brain just really liked that it wasn't too, kind of, could be this or that kind of a thing, right? It just decided
not too woo-woo.
Even though I love the
but not woo-woo.
I do love the woo. But I also like to show my work. So one of the branches of traditional astrology is horary astrology. And horary is, horary comes from the word for the hours, right? And it's literally the astrology of the moment. So it's similar to something like Tarot or Lenormand or something like that, where you ask those sorts of questions, and the reader pulls out the cards, and in that moment, here's the situation, basically, if you will. So it's the same sort of thing where the question, and I can give a few examples of the types of questions that are good for this, but you ask the question, you might have a little conversation with the astrologer to make sure, I want to make sure I understand the question. And then that moment when the astrologer understands the question is the moment you pull the chart for. So it's the question of that moment, and the answer arises in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so you read the chart in a particular way. There's, again, rules and methods for doing that. And then you get the answer to the question that way.
That way.
So.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So is this something, like you're talking about, that it's in this moment, which is wonderful because so many people have questions about right now. Okay, but is it something that you can also use for the future?
Yeah, it is for the future. So the questions, the thing about Horary, you draw the chart for the moment, because that's the moment the question is asked, right?
Okay,
but the question can be things like, will I is always a good, will I get that job? Will he ask me out on a date? Will I get married next year? Those are all really good questions. The other, it can also ask about, you can ask like the condition of something, like maybe you're going to buy a new car, or a used car, I should say, and you want to know, like, is this a good thing to buy? You could ask something like, what is the condition of this car that I want to buy? It's used a lot for finding lost items or lost people. Pets, I've seen it. I've seen it done for pets. Where's my cat? Where's my dog? Also situations, like illness. So like if you have a friend who maybe is in the hospital, you can ask, will my friend survive? Or will my friend get better? Will my cat survive? Whatever, like those types of questions, right? Will I go on the trip to China next year? Will I, so those are all the types of questions that you can ask. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm certainly looking forward.
But I like, it's different. So I also am offering mini astrology readings that, people are more known, right? Like the basic natal astrology. I'm offering those as well. And of course, for those, you need your birth date and location and time. And sometimes people don't have the time.
Yes, that was going to be my other question.
And so the beauty of Horary is that you don't need the birth time, because we're literally just doing the time of right now. It is helpful to have it. It's helpful to have a natal birth chart, because sometimes we can see the the connections that are happening between the two charts, and we can get another layer of meaning as well, but it's not a requirement. The only requirements I would say for a Horary reading would be that the question is of deep importance. It's not like, will whoever, win the football game next weekend, right? You're not going to get good answers with that. It's going to have to be something really important to your life. And it's also helpful if you've tried, like if you, for example, the lost items thing, that you've looked everywhere, like kind of a thing, right? If you're just like, oh, I can't find my keys, I better go pull a Horary, not so much. But if you've literally opened everything and emptied everything, and you're in that state, it's a great time.
If you can't find the diamond ring,
exactly,
you can't come and consult you. Exactly. I love that. And how has this helped you in your life?
Wow. I think it gives, first of all, like any astrology reading, there's a certain amount of validation that comes. Yes. So especially the will I questions, right? I even in my regular astrology readings, almost every client I've ever had, one of the things they all have in common is they say that they feel so validated, that, oh, I knew this, or I saw this was happening, but I didn't know if I was crazy or if it shouldn't be like that, or that sort of thing. And they get confirmation that all is well and all is going, as it should. And then just the knowing, I think, we all want to know. It's like, oh, what's going to happen? Or we get into that kind of anxiety, and sometimes even if the answer isn't what you want, you feel better knowing or being able to expect, what might happen, right? Based on based on the current conditions. So I think that's been helpful, just having that confirmation
to confirm everything, to confirm that we know stuff, but just to have the the charts confirm it. Or now, when people come and see you, especially during HarmonyFest and anytime, do they already have to have their chart done, their birth chart done, or will you do it there?
No, I'm offering 30-minute readings for that purpose. Now I'll pull up the chart during the, of course, if it's a horary question, I'll just pull it up for that moment, whatever it is.
Sure.
And then if it's a regular one, I've got them in 30-minute slots. So in 30 minutes, you have time for maybe a little bit of like a overview of personality, psychology type stuff that people are used to, or maybe one kind of a deep dive, like I want to know about my money, or, like one topic kind of a thing, or even just a little bit of like what's coming up in the next 6 months, let's say, themes that are coming up. So in 30 minutes, not having time to prep, I can do some high level things with that. If they've scheduled far in advance and, they want to give me that information ahead of time, I can probably go a little deeper.
Sure.
But yeah.
Sure. Because you do offer you're doing 30-minute readings, but you're also offering hours, aren't you? 60 minutes.
Oh, did I? Yeah, because I think I had that thought that, 30 minutes, if somebody wants a full reading, I wanted to be able to give them that as well.
Okay. All right. So I'd just like to thank you and also honor you, and thank you for bringing your gifts to HarmonyFest, to Sacred You, into the world. And for everyone who is listening, whether it's live or the replay, and we do have a few people watching live, do click on the links below to schedule a reading with Patricia. Now, HarmonyFest is over 4 days, and you're available for 2 of those days, for October the 12th and the 13th here in Australia, which would be the 11th and the 12th for you.
Yes, and I actually think I can add one on the very last day.
Okay.
The day.
Well, we can add that. Not a problem. We can add that. So do click on the link, because this is exciting. It really is. It's a different, we all heard of astrology, and astrology is a whole new language. We have an astrology tribe here in Sacred You, and it's such a wonderful gift to know. The knowledge to know about how, the planets and everything else can affect our lives, and how to plan for it. The whole HarmonyFest, the dates of the HarmonyFest, is all around an astrology reading, astrology thing, where our astrologer, I said, I need some dates. And she said, this is it, especially Friday the 13th in October. She said, it's a very powerful day. But you take it to a different level. Totally different level. So really, really thank you so much for doing this. I'm just looking to see, we do have people reading. For anyone who is watching, if you've got any comments or any questions, please put them in the comments and we will pass them on to Patricia. But if not, book in for a reading. Thoroughly recommended. I think it would be the best 30 minutes or 60 minutes, depending on how long you want, span of your life. And if you have any of those direct questions, definitely.
And for anyone who's a business owner, that is my sweet spot. In my own practice, I work a lot with entrepreneurs, business owners, and I do the charts for the soul of their business as well. And we look at their business and them together, and all the stuff you would do for a person, we can do for a business.
You can do for business. So tell us more about that. You do the charts for the soul of the business. How do you need dates and times for that?
Yeah, and there's ways to figure that out. Sometimes it's something really clear, like it got incorporated, on this date at this time. But sometimes I work with the person to figure out what it is for them, because sometimes I had an incorporation and then my business changed 5 times since then.
Yes.
And so for what I'm doing now, I have a start time, which is the birth time of what I do now. And I think I based it on my first email out to my group saying, this is what I'm doing now, and thus began. So there's different things that can mark, like you open your Facebook page or you send out an email or make some announcement, like, and it's kind of it's a little bit subjective if you do it that way, right? To figure out which feels like the start of my business. But we can come up with that. And then we look at the person's chart as well, because they're the CEO of the business. And so those two and how they interact and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Wonderful. And do you need the birth times for that to happen too, for the people, for the business owners?
Very helpful. I don't have to, but if they want the full,
The full thing.
if they don't have a time, you can still get information. So
Good.
it's still
Good.
works. Yeah.
Good. I might book in for a slot myself. So anyway, Patricia, thank you ever so much for joining us today. Like I said, but for everyone who is watching, let me just check one last thing, because we are streaming out to numerous places. And so if anyone has any questions, please put them in the comments and we will certainly get to them. And we will certainly get to them very, very, very soon. Thank you, Patricia, ever so much for joining us. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to connecting with you for HarmonyFest Move and More, which is only coming up in 5 days' time. The start of HarmonyFest, and of course, for everyone who doesn't know about HarmonyFest, we've got 4 days of anything to do with the spiritual, the holistic, and the well-being fields. We've got beautiful online readers like Patricia, lots of masterclasses, about 20-something masterclasses, and over 24, I think, virtual stalls, which also Patricia has a stall too. And then that where you're showing where all the stall holders showing their services and their products. So do click on the link and register at sacredyou.love. Register for the HarmonyFest, then you'll get to know everything about it. So thank you again, Patricia. I said, I just want to thank you for being part of HarmonyFest.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited about it.
So 5 days to go. Oh my God, 5 days to go.